And some in the media lashing out over the viral protest involving teenagers wearing MAGA hats.
Scene many are calling racist played out in Washington.
Teenage Trump supporters taunting a Native American veteran.
All right, how the president just came to that teen's defense and is taking the media head on. And another Democrat announcing a White House bid.
And with it, another attempt to appeal to Americans by eating breakfast. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day. So let it get away on the road.
I like the song. I'm wondering if this is on Rob's list of approved songs that he likes. Is this on your list?
Oh, you're going to start this early, aren't you? Yeah, this is a good song.
Okay.
I like a little U2.
Just usually the songs I like, you don't like.
Yeah, well, you like Miley Cyrus, and I want to, jump out the window.
That is false, okay? Good morning. You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Tuesday morning. I'm Jillian Mealy.
And I'm Rob Schmidt. Thanks for getting up early with us. And this is a live look now at Capitol Hill, where the Senate unveiled its bill to reopen the government overnight.
Garrett Denny joins us live from Washington, D.C. with what the proposal is offering for President Trump's border wall. Garrett.
Well, Rob and Jillian, this bill is just over 1,300 pages, so there is a lot in there, but its name sums it up pretty well. It is the End the Shutdown and Secure the Border Act. With it, the president is asking Democrats to give him $5.7 billion for a border barrier in exchange for 3 years of protection for DACA recipients and a 3-year extension of temporary protected status for 300,000 other immigrants living in the United States. The bill would also immediately end the shutdown and reopen the government. But even before formal legislation was unveiled, Democratic lawmakers were calling it a non-starter for them and said they will refuse to negotiate with the White House over any proposal until the president first reopens the government.
He is now holding the American people hostage over a vanity project that he calls a wall, while 800,000 people are trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to pay their mortgage.
It's not just Democrats who have concerns about this bill, though. Some immigration hardliners in the GPA have concerns that the president's concessions on DACA amount to amnesty. So this could become a bit of a math problem for Republicans, particularly if Democrats decide to filibuster. 60 votes are needed to begin debate on legislation and to end a filibuster. The GOP has 53 seats, so Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will need every one of those plus 7 Democrats in order for this bill to move ahead and to pass. This weekend, even the White House suggested it may not have the votes it needs for that deal to pass in the Senate. But if we've learned anything over the past few years, a lot can change in the course of a couple days. So as the president often says, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Robin Jillian?
Yeah, Mitch can be a magic man. We'll see what he can do. Thank you so much, Garrett. We appreciate it.
And if Republicans can get their proposal through the Senate, it would then be up to the Democratic-controlled House.
Fox News politics editor Chris Stirewalt says despite Pelosi's public refusal to negotiate, the Democrats are in a bind.
No is always the easiest answer in Washington. No is always the easiest. Nope, I won't do it. I won't do it. I'm not getting everything I want, so no. And Nancy Pelosi is in a bind. And the reason that she's in a bind is that the president has made something that sounds like a counteroffer. There is starting a discussion here. The Washington Post editorial page, others saying, look, it's time you got to talk turkey here. But everybody's still avoiding the basic construct. It is the space between $1.6 trillion and $5.7 trillion. That's all we're talking about. Everything else is flummery. Everything else is the phony baloney. Do you want to spend an additional $5.7 billion, or do you want to spend an additional $1.6 billion? It's almost like, just hear me out on this is crazy talk, but it's almost like they could meet in the middle.
Democrats maintain that they want the president, the president to reopen the government first, and then they want to negotiate on border security.
President Trump ramping up his calls for a southern border wall in the wake of recent violence. The president tweeting, quote, 4 people in Nevada viciously robbed and killed by an illegal immigrant who should not have been in our country. 26 people killed on the border in a drug and gang-related fight. 2 large caravans from Honduras broke into Mexico and are headed our way. We need a powerful wall. A 19-year-old suspect expected to face murder charges in the Nevada killings. President Trump also calling on Democrats to, quote, stop playing games and give America the security it deserves.
The police officer shot and killed trying to arrest a suspect in Alabama will be laid to rest on Friday. Hundreds of people paying tribute to Officer Sean Tudor, lining the streets with American flags. His suspected killer, Marco Perez, is charged with capital murder. Officer Tudor spent 3 years with the Mobile Police Department after serving as a specialist in the Alabama National Guard. In a heartbreaking statement, his family says, quote, Sean loved his family and this country and knew this was a chance. He is our hero and a patriot. Officer Tudor was just 30 years old. He leaves behind a wife.
President Trump standing up for the students in this viral clip, accused of mocking a Native American veteran. New video vindicating them, and now some of those students are speaking out.
Yeah, Todd Pyro is live in the studio with their side of the story. Hey, Todd.
Hey, guys, good morning to you. The president with his take on the complete 180 that is this story, tweeting, quote, looking like Nick Sandmann and Covington Catholic students were treated unfairly with early judgments proving out to be false, smeared by media. Not good, but making big comeback. New footage shows that media was wrong about teens' encounter with Native American. President Trump referencing this latest and longer video showing that Native American elder Nathan Phillips was the one to approach the teens, and showing that Phillips, before he arrived, a group of black Hebrew Israelites were yelling obscenities at the students. Now, 2 students are speaking out.
There have been many threats against our lives, against our parents. A lot of the negativity and the hate surrounding this event comes from people on social media. People jump into conclusions before the full story is released. Nobody did their research, and it's now showing.
Here are just a few of those jumps to conclusion. Howard Dean tweeting, Covington Catholic High School seems like a hate factory to me. Why not just close it? CNN's Bakari Sellers, he is deplorable. Some people can also be punched in the face. And another user, the boys from Covington Catholic are why the Gillette ad exists. And when students return to Covington Catholic High School today, they will be greeted by police and by protesters. Meantime, numerous reports suggest the students and their families are considering legal action for defamation against those who painted the students in a negative light. Rob?
Yeah, this is an unbelievable story, and the reactions are even worse. Todd, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, thousands of federal workers will be back on the job today despite the government shutdown. According to the Washington Post, 8,000 State Department employees will get paid for the next 15 days. And 300 E-Verify employees will also be back to work today. They'll serve in another capacity at the Department of Homeland Security until Congress approves funding for that program. Both agencies insist the workers are needed for national security. 500,000 students could soon head back to class as the Los Angeles Teachers Union makes some progress with negotiations. 30,000 educators will head to the picket lines for a 6th day today, demanding higher pay and smaller class sizes. The strike cannot end until the union votes to ratify a deal. Another vote in Denver could start a new strike there. They are pushing for salary incentives in Colorado as well. Jill.
A freshman Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee claims Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh committed perjury during his confirmation hearings.
There's no question that perjury, right, during the confirmation hearings and so forth. So I think the Judiciary Committee is likely to take that up.
Congressman Joe Neguse did not say which statements he was referring to specifically. Kavanaugh was confirmed by the Senate in a 50-40 vote, despite Democrats' attempts to derail his nomination. Well, the government shutdown could prevent the World Series champions from visiting the White House. The president of the Red Sox telling the Boston Globe it wouldn't be appropriate to go because government employees are struggling. The team is scheduled to make the trip on February 15th. Some players have already said they wouldn't go. So we'll see what happens.
Well, if you've been outside in the last 36 hours, I think the world's coming to an end. A bitter blast icing over much of the Northeast and causing chaos at our airports. More than 5,400 flights were delayed yesterday, including some at a Wisconsin airport that lost power, leaving passengers in the dark and cold for hours.
Part of Rhode Island under a state of emergency after the cold cuts off heat to more than 7,000 customers. And as a lot of people dig out from this latest storm, another is stirring out west. Parts of Utah seeing up to a foot of snow. And it is cold out there, Janice, but I will tell you one thing. I am thankful it's going to warm up later this week, right, on the East Coast?
Yes, so this is the last day of the real extreme cold. Rob, you would not last in my homeland.
Oh, God. I mean, are you kidding?
Are usual this time of year. You go hang out with my mom. She'll show you. All right, let's take a look at the current wind chill. That's what it feels like with the wind. The wind is what is making it unbearable. So single digits. Actually, we warmed up. It feels like 3 in New York. Yesterday, we were minus double digits. Past 24 hours, there's our next storm system that's moving out west up towards the Plain States. We have winter weather advisories in anticipation of this next storm system and even blizzard warnings for parts of Kansas into Colorado. So we'll watch for that. And there's our future radar. We'll watch the potential for some very heavy snow. And then the southern part of the storm, it's going to be a rain event. As it moves towards the coast, yes, the temperatures ahead of the front are going to move northward and they're going to warm up. So it's mainly going to be a rain event, but we could see some icing as well. There's your forecast precipitation. So the heaviest snow totals will be across the northern Rockies, in towards the central Rockies and parts of the Midwest. And then once it moves eastward, it's going to get warmer. So we will deal with mainly a rain event.
I guess that could have been all been snow, though, if it were colder.
Could have been if the temperatures were, it's wacky, though. It's like a seesaw. Very cold, then it's going to warm up again, then it's going to get cold again next week.
I was on the west side of Manhattan yesterday, and that wind whipping off the Hudson. I mean, I had to rethink a lot of things in that.
You poor thing.
I couldn't. I mean, it was unbelievable. I've never experienced cold like this.
You need to dress more appropriately.
This was crazy yesterday. What I felt was crazy.
It was crazy cold.
But last year in January, 2 weeks straight, it was like 0 degrees.
All right. You're right.
You will survive
I'll
this.
survive.
I promise.
If we don't go to break, the producers are going to kill us.
They're yelling at us right now.
Littlest violin right here.
Yes.
You play that while I read this. It is 12 minutes after the hour. President Trump reminding Nancy Pelosi that walls work as he waits for Democrats to negotiate on border security. So, will it motivate them to make a deal? We'll discuss next.
Plus, from the White House to Big Brother, to the Big Brother house. Anthony Scaramucci starting a new gig. Will this one last longer than 10 days? Stay tuned.
People with type 2 diabetes are excited about the potential of once-weekly Ozempic. In a study with Ozempic, a majority of adults lowered their blood sugar and reached an A1C of less than 7 and maintained it.
Oh, under 7?
And you may lose weight. In the same one-year study, adults lost on average up to 12 pounds.
Oh, up to 12 pounds?
A 2-year study showed that Ozempic does not increase the risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attack, stroke, or death.
Oh, no increased risk.
Ozempic should not be the first medicine for treating diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis. Do not share needles or pens. Don't reuse needles. Do not take Ozempic if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Ozempic. Stop taking Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, itching, rash, or trouble breathing. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. Tell your doctor if you have diabetic retinopathy or vision changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase the risk for low blood sugar. Common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
I discovered the potential with Ozempic.
Ask your healthcare provider if Ozempic is right for you.
President Trump and Senate Republicans are setting records, confirming judges across the country, strong judges who'll restore the rule of law and always apply the Constitution just as it was written. So Democrats are taking their obstruction to disgraceful new lows, shamefully bullying nominees, attacking them just because of their faith. Tell your senator, stand up to the bullying, the smear campaigns, confirm the judges.
Did you know the same hotel room can have many different prices? That's why TripAdvisor searches over 200 booking sites to find the lowest price on the hotel you want. Your perfect hotel room for the perfect price. TripAdvisor.
This is Fracture. Just upload an image, place your order, and it'll show up at your door, beautifully printed directly on glass. And this isn't just another frame, not just another canvas. This is new. This is a Fracture. Visit FractureMe.com and print one today.
We'd love some help with laundry. Here's how you do it. Spray and scrub anything with a stain. Soak your nasty jersey, it stinks. Wash the really dirty clothes separately. Remember, hard work builds character.
New Tide Pods with upgraded 4-in-1 technology unleash a foolproof clean in one step.
Aw, you did the laundry.
But you didn't fold it.
Oh, that wasn't in the note.
You should have sent a text.
Number one stain and odor fighting power. Number one trusted. It's got to be Tide.
All right, welcome back. The Senate expected to start debate as early as today on their plan to reopen the government, but Republicans are going to need 60 votes, including at least 7 Democrats to flip in order to get it passed.
Joining us now to discuss is former Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy and Economic Development for the Trump administration, Dr. Gavin Clarkson. Thank you for joining us this morning. What do you think?
Good morning.
Will they have
Thanks
the
for having
numbers?
me on. Good morning.
Good morning. So will they have the numbers? What do you think?
Well, I think they will probably have the numbers because I believe there are going to be some Democrats that, A, want to get the government open and they recognize that the president is a masterful negotiator. And at the same point, the hypocrisy of some of the positions that Chuck and Nancy have been maintaining is being evident to all. And as I've said on your show earlier, if it weren't for double standards, Chuck and Nancy would have no standards at all. But border security is somebody that they say that they want. And the president has put together a compassionate and credible compromise proposal. And now it's up to the Democrats to step up to the negotiating table. And let's hammer out the deal. Let's get these federal workers back to work. Let's get our border secure. And we can solve the problem. It won't take very long.
Yeah, I think you might be, you sound optimistic that they can get 7 here to flip. I mean, you might get Manchin and a couple other red state Democrats. But I don't think many people think that this is going to get to 60 even in the Senate. My question to you is, as these leaders try and wrangle their people together and keep them corralled and not break off and vote for something like Pelosi's trying to do, is some of the blame for the shutdown shifting to the Democrats? Because at this point, the president puts out what seems to be a pretty logical compromise, and they say, we're not even going to compromise.
Well, yes, the president put out a proposal that includes many things that Democrats have supported in the past. The Bridge Act, which had bipartisan support, and many of the Senate Democrats were already on record as supporting it, had the temporary protection for DACA recipients, and you've got the temporary protection for the people who are victims of natural disasters. Those are things the president was planning on canceling, and yet he's offered a compromise negotiation because he specifically reached out to rank-and-file Democrats to try and find out what were the things that they were concerned about. He also has made sure that all of the elements of his proposal are based on what the actual experts on the border are asking for, and that's our brave men and women of Customs and Border Protection. So everything he's asking for is something that is credible, compassionate, and it will solve the crisis on the border.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's going on in Nevada right now. There's a suspected illegal immigrant that's expected to be charged in 4 murders out there. We've told you about that earlier this morning, and we've been talking about this. It's another example that people are pointing to.
Well, Jillian, that's a situation that is a prime case of why sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies are a complete disaster, and they will lead to nothing but death and destruction. The only reason that Wilber Guzman is in jail right now is because there was cooperation between law enforcement and immigration officials. But for their cooperation, he would still be on the street murdering people and breaking in and robbing houses. But because they were able to have coordination, they were able to detain him. That gave him enough time to get the search warrant, go to his house, and they found evidence of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 separate murders, 3 separate robberies. This monster is off the streets because of the cooperation between law enforcement and ICE and immigration. But if this had been California, or unfortunately if this had been my home state of New Mexico, he'd still be on the streets murdering people.
That's a great point. All right. Thank you, sir, very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
All right.
It is 19 minutes after the hour. President Trump preparing for talks with Kim Jong-un. But is the rogue regime still building and stockpiling weapons of war? The bombshell discovery you don't want to miss. Stay right there.
Get new floors during Empire Today's gigantic 75% off sale. That's carpet, laminate, and even hardwood 75% off. Empire makes getting beautiful new floors easy. See samples in your home, get a free estimate, and have your floors professionally installed. Update your floors with Empire and get 75% off carpet, laminate, and hardwood. Schedule now.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
Watch the horse!
What you don't see can hurt you. Today's connected world is full of threats you may not see if you just monitor your credit to help protect your identity. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 Million Protection Package. Get LifeLock with Norton, starting at $9.99 a month.
Hi, I'm Annette and I'm an actress. Under eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating. I came across Plexiderm and I was so excited. We have a model, his name is Richie, and all he's doing is taking a small amount. It's so powerful, that's all it takes. It literally creates an invisible layer that tightens the skin and smooths it out. All you do is gently rub it underneath your eyes, on your fine lines and wrinkles, and it visibly disappears in as little as 10 minutes.
This is the only product I have ever used that actually really works. I look a good 20 years younger. Frankly, I don't think I looked this young when I was 40.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. It feels great. Looks even better.
The videos that you see are real. Those are the results you can expect to see. Get Plexiderm for up to 50% off, plus get free shipping. Order yours at plexiderm.com or call the number on your screen.
BuzzFeed Buzzkill?
What are the standards for journalists?
After Mueller refutes findings, who's holding the media accountable? Mark Levin weighs in on Hannity.
You have a lot of deadlines in your business, right?
We miss deadlines, we don't get paid.
What if you lost your network connection?
You gotta be kidding me. Chaotic.
Our GigSpeed network lets you download files up to 20 times faster. And we go beyond fast with 4G LTE backup for complete reliability. So if you lose your network connection, you won't miss the deadlines.
Having the confidence of something that's never going to go down would be priceless.
Just one more way we go beyond other providers. Right now, get fast, reliable internet for a low price. Comcast Business, beyond fast.
I am Dr. Michael Collins, and I want to be your surgeon. I can do something about that so that you can do what you love to do, what you're passionate about doing, even better, faster, with more focus. See the world in a whole new way. Did you know you have choices? We'll work together to make a decision about your vision. Only the very best for my patients, because that's what you deserve.
Good morning to you and welcome back. The U.S. will formally request extradition of the Chinese tech executive accused of violating sanctions against Iran. That's according to Canadian newspaper The Globe and Mail. Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou was taken into custody in Canada on behalf of the U.S. in December. She's accused of defrauding banks to get around sanctions in Iran.
President Trump touts a strong year of production job increases, which the former President Obama basically called impossible. President Trump tweeting, quote, "Last year was the best year for American manufacturing job growth since 1997, or 21 years. The previous administration said manufacturing will not come back to the U.S. You would need a magic wand. I guess I found the magic wand, and it is only getting better." The manufacturing industry gained 284,000 new jobs in 2018. That's the biggest gain, again, since 1997.
All right, so how about this? Special doors sparking a huge demand for a special edition Lincoln Continental.
Tracy Carrasco here from our sister network Fox Business with more on the retro blast from the past. Hey, Tracy.
Yes, good morning. So this limited edition Lincoln Continental, it sold out in 48 hours. It's $110,000. It has those coach doors. Those are the backward opening doors. And the reason that it sold out so quickly, only 80 of them were made. This was to mark the 80th anniversary of the first Lincoln Continental. So this was also the most expensive Lincoln model ever sold. But don't worry, with this limited edition, if you didn't buy one this time, they will be making more in 2020. But it looks pretty cool. That's
cool.
Yes.
A lot of money for a Lincoln.
Yes, it is.
True.
All right. Starbucks pushing the coffee delivery.
Yeah, Starbucks is expanding its delivery service. They're now going to be delivering from about a quarter of its U.S. stores. They're partnering with Uber Eats to do this. They first started out this idea by testing it out in the Miami area with about 200 Starbucks locations. Starting today, they're going to be rolling this out in San Francisco. In the few weeks ahead, they're going to be doing this in Boston, Washington, Chicago, L.A., as I mentioned, very soon. And there is a $2.49 booking fee to do this. They'll be offering about 95% of its menu. So just about everything from Starbucks, you can soon have it delivered to you.
How lazy are we?
There is a Starbucks on every corner.
Yeah, luckily the coffee's $7, so $2.40 for the delivery is not that dramatic.
Yes.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks.
25 minutes after the hour, Martin Luther King Jr. Day meant to unite the country, but many Democrats, some eyeing 2020, used it to get political and take some shots at the president.
We now have a president of the United States who is a racist.
The Grand Wizard of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
So was that the right message? Gianna Caldwell and Chuck Rocha here live to debate it next.
And another candidate, another appeal to the middle class. Kamala Harris eats breakfast, and the media eats it up.
As the one who's always trapped beneath the duvet, I'm begging you, take Gas-X. Your tossing and turning isn't restlessness, it's gas. Gas-X relieves pressure, bloating, and discomfort fast, so we can all sleep easier tonight.
At Booking.com, we can't guarantee you'll find gold in them there hills on your vacation. But we can guarantee the best price on this rental cabin, or any accommodation, from hotels to yurts. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Do you suffer tired, aching legs? Are painful feet slowing you down? Relieve your aching legs and feet with Revitive Medic Circulation Booster, a drug-free and clinically tested medical device that's been cleared by the FDA. Age, inactivity, or medical conditions can affect the blood flow in your legs and feet. The result? Poor circulation and aches and pains. With Revitive Medic's patented and clinically tested electrical muscle stimulation, it gets your leg muscles moving, increasing fresh, oxygen-rich blood in your legs and feet, improving leg muscle strength and endurance, and importantly, relieving your aches and pains. Fact is, 4 out of 5 people who try Revitive keep it because it works.
I have tried everything to get rid of my pain, and nothing has worked like Revitive. And even better, it's not a drug.
My granddaughter asked me to dance with her. Well, I can't turn down my granddaughter, right? So I danced 2 long dances with her, and I would never have been able to do that without Revitive.
It makes a big difference, quality of life. It's nice to have that filling back and have the control back.
Revitive Medic is easy to use. Put your feet on, turn it on. Now increase the intensity to get your leg muscles pumping and your blood moving. And if you use Revitive daily for 6 to 8 weeks, we promise you'll experience significant relief from your aches and pains and back doing the things you love. Try it risk-free with our 60-day money-back guarantee and free shipping. If you're not satisfied, return it for a full refund. We'll even pay your return shipping. That's how confident we are in the power of Revitive. Go to tryrevitive.com right now or call 1-800-320-5421. That's tryrevitive.com. Visit our site today.
You don't have to live with pain. You just have to take the leap and try Revitive.
Memories. What we deliver by delivering.
We have a hater in the White House. The birther-in-chief, the Grand Wizard of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
We've learned in the last 2 years, it doesn't take much to awaken hate. It's not an accident. They have been deliberately reawakened again.
We now have a president of the United States who is a racist.
Well, as you can see right there, top Democrats taking aim at President Trump on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. But on a day meant to unite America, was that the right message? Here to debate that is Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha and Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell. Thank you both for being here this morning. We appreciate it. Chuck, I will start with you. What do you make of that language just on a day that was Martin Luther King Jr. Day?
Well, welcome to Presidential Politics 2020, and welcome to people trying to get their base out to go vote. I think that if Donald Trump stops acting like a racist, people will stop calling him a racist. I think that I'm not saying that the President of the United States is racist. I'm just saying that all the racists that I know really like him. And so what you see is lots of African Americans and Latinos like myself who've been anxious about the rhetoric that's coming out of this White House. You're going to see the Democratic presidential candidates take advantage of that and rile up a base because they need their votes.
But, Chuck, don't you think that could pause for just a day?
Oh, absolutely. And I do politics for a living. I don't do fancy TV stuff or lobbying. I actually get people elected to office. And that's probably the worst part of my job, because people in politics love to take advantage of a situation where people are listening to get one side or the other riled up when we should be talking to both.
Gianno, what's your take?
I thought it was disgraceful and deplorable, especially what Hakeem Jeffries said in terms of calling President Trump the Grand Wizard of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. When we think about the legacy of Martin Luther King, one in which I think provided me even the opportunity to be on this program today, I would say that would be an opportunity for them to unite us versus try to divide us. And when we think about presidential politics, I've been knowing Chuck for a very long time. He's right. People do try to take these opportunities when they know people are listening or they can get a soundbite. But I would say that that's not leadership. That's definitely individuals that we know. If you're going to take an opportunity like that on Martin Luther King Day, you shouldn't be running for any higher office or public office in general, period.
There's one thing I do want to make a point about, Jillian, is that as we're moving into 2020, you're watching all these teams get assembled. And people are out in our world are out there working in these early states. They're assembling their teams. But you're going to have 15, 16, 20 people like the Republican primaries running. And a lot of them are going to try to be getting oxygen in the room and get press coverage because they're not going to be noticed. They're going to be B, C, D level candidates. And you're going to hear much worse than what we heard this weekend. Not saying one side's right or wrong. I'm just saying you need to prepare yourself.
Yeah, it's disappointing a little bit. Gianno, let's go ahead and talk about some news that was made yesterday. We all saw it coming, but Kamala Harris did in fact announce that she is going to be running for president of the United States in 2020. What do you make of that?
Well, you know what, her campaign ad talking about justice and decency being the first two words that was used there tells me that she is going to, similar to what Chuck just said, she's going to be making a direct aim and target at President Trump. But I would caution any Democratic candidate that is looking to make themselves really well known, it's a losing strategy when you're simply looking to attack the president versus give us the vision for the country in which you have, because no one cares about what you think about President Trump anymore. What people want to know about is how is their pocketbooks going to do better? What are you doing on taxes? What are you doing on health care? What are you going to do on immigration? So unless you have some real plans outside of saying how much you hate Trump, the country doesn't move forward. So for all these candidates that are going to be kind of these A1 candidates, they need to take notice that they need to lay out their vision for our country and not how much they hate the president. Makes no sense.
Chuck, do you think that the far left socialist progressive agenda is what people want right now?
I think people love Social Security, and I think they love public schools, whether people on this network or other networks cause that socialism or not. I think that there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of anxiety. And to Jill's point, I think that that's right. Like, I think people know that most Democrats don't like President Trump, but you have to run on something as well. And I'm telling all the presidential campaigns, you need to be able to raise about $200 million, have name ID, and build infrastructure in the first 6 states if you want to have any chance. But you got to talk about the president a little bit, but really tell what you're standing for.
Well, yeah, you certainly can't just talk about disliking the president, because
right now they're standing for 70% of taxes, taxing people by 70%.
Gianno and Chuck, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Rob.
Thank you.
I missed Chuck's hat. All right, former FBI lawyer James Baker reveals that he was personally involved in obtaining that FISA warrant to surveil President Trump's campaign aide, Carter Page. According to unreleased transcripts reviewed by Fox News, Baker admitted that it was, quote, an unusual move. Congressman Devin Nunes sounded off on alleged bias within the FBI.
Not only did top officials know at the FBI, top officials also knew at the Department of Justice, including 4 people that were on the Mueller team. 2 have now been fired. These people have a lot of questions that need to be answered that we in the House, because our investigation continues, even though we don't have subpoena power.
Of course, that FISA warrant relied on the anti-Trump dossier funded by the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign. The UK Prime Minister refusing a second Brexit referendum, Theresa May ruling it out as she presented her backup Brexit plan to Parliament, Plan B. She vowed to seek further concessions from the EU to avoid a hard border in Ireland, which they don't want. She would also waive the fee for EU citizens seeking settled status in Britain. Parliament will vote on this new version next week. Of course, we'll keep you posted. New satellite images suggest Kim Jong-un has not abandoned his ballistic missile program. Researchers from the international studies group Beyond Parallel discovering as many as 20 undeclared nuclear sites in North Korea. Look at all those. One facility is believed to be the headquarters of that regime's missile force. The White House has not commented on this report. Experts say the U.S. should focus on these sites when President Trump and Kim Jong-un meet next month, if and when that does happen. 2 people are killed when an antique plane crashes in a neighborhood just feet away from home. Shortly after takeoff, the World War II cargo plane hit trees and then power lines and then crashed into a yard in Ohio.
It's very scary. It's, the power went out and we heard the crash and you just jump.
The plane was scheduled for engine testing. No federal agencies are going to be investigating this as of right now because of the government shutdown. Julian.
It is 36 minutes after the hour. First, it was immoral to secure the border, and now it's immoral to make money?
Do we live in a moral world that allows for billionaires? Is that a moral outcome in and of itself?
It's not.
Carla Shimkus here with the reaction to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's crusade against capitalism next. Oh, aren't they just adorable?
See my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis or psoriatic arthritis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats differently. For psoriasis, 75% clearer skin is achievable with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. For psoriatic arthritis, Otezla is proven to reduce joint swelling, tenderness, and pain. And the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain or knee pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace or knee brace covered by Medicare at little to absolutely no cost to you. Call the number on your screen right now to see if you qualify.
I've worked hard on the ranch all my life, and I just can't tell you how this back brace makes me feel so much better.
These professional-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, spinal disorders, stenosis, and other painful back problems.
I'm a retired truck driver, and I put a lot of miles on my back, and this back brace helps me feel much better.
Our medical-grade durable knee braces are designed for those with osteoarthritis and general knee pain and weakness. Will you qualify for a Medicare-covered back brace or knee brace? There's only one way to find out. Call the Back and Knee Brace Center at 800-218-8932. That's 800-218-8932. That's 800-218-8932.
Thanks to my new knee brace, I can go shopping for the first time in months and not have to sit every 10 minutes.
Our accredited staff will handle all of the Medicare paperwork. And best of all, your brace is shipped directly to your home for free. Will you qualify for a Medicare-covered back brace or knee brace? There's only one way to find out. Call the Back and Knee Brace Center at 800-218-8932.
The brace was so easy to order. The people were friendly on the phone and handled everything for me. What a relief.
Will you qualify for a Medicare-covered back brace or knee brace? There's only one way to find out. Call the Back and Knee Brace Center at 800-218-8932. That's 800-218-8932. That's 800-218-8932.
All right, welcome back. The Oscars still don't have a host, but this year's nominees will be revealed today. Comedian Kumail Nanjiani and actress Tracee Ellis Ross will announce the contenders this morning at 8:20 Eastern Time, if you really want to know. The Academy has been struggling to find a replacement host after comedian Kevin Hart stepped down after some of those controversial tweets came out. The 91st Oscars will air live on February 24th.
From the White House to the celebrity Big Brother house, Anthony Scaramucci hoping to outdo his 10-day-long career with the Trump administration on reality TV.
My name's Anthony Scaramucci. I'm also known as the Mooch, fired White House communications director.
It's going to last longer than my stint in the White House, God willing.
Scaramucci sharing the house with the likes of Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte and former NFL running back Ricky Williams. The Mooch not off to a great start, struggling in the first challenge, teamed up with Lindsay Lohan's mom, Dina. He's not the first Trump staffer to join the show. Omarosa Manigault Newman took Celebrity Big Brother by storm last season, so we will see.
Oh, God.
What happens? America awaits.
Reality TV, save us. All right, even Hollywood is calling out the media on this story for what many are now calling their biased coverage of these Covington High School Catholic students.
This story just took off. Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7 Sirius XM 115 has the stern response from one TV mom.
Hey, yeah, that's right. Good morning, guys. So actress Patricia Heaton of Everybody Loves Raymond fame is now calling out her Hollywood colleagues for their rush to judgment on this whole situation. She tweets, "These apologies are welcome and necessary, but they don't address the damage that cannot be undone, which was inflicted upon young people who are about to embark on adulthood, applying to colleges, looking for employment, etc." Well, she isn't the only one defending these students. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul also defending the Kentucky kids, tweeting, "Unfortunately, there is too often a rush to judgment from our media and social media these days. We should stop and look at the facts first." Elsewhere on social media, a whole lot of other tweets from regular folks just like you and me, including this one from Monica Names, who says our society is so rushed to be judge and jury instead of seeking out the truth. And as you heard earlier in the show, President Trump also talked about this situation, saying the students were treated unfairly. A whole lot of reaction on this front.
Lots, yes. It continues.
All right. The socialist darling of the Democratic Party has a big problem with the billionaires.
Yeah, that's right. Well, she's already talked about taxing the uber rich even more. And now New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that a system that allows billionaires to exist is immoral. Watch.
Do we live in a moral world that allows for billionaires? Is that a moral outcome in and of itself?
It's not. A system that allows billionaires to exist, it not only doesn't make economic sense, but it doesn't make moral sense.
All right, let's get straight into the reaction. Paul on Twitter says, "I really hope that her ideas will become mainstream and she becomes the face of the Democratic Party." Another Twitter user also chiming in saying, "Without wealthy people, we wouldn't have investments and upward mobility. The sheer amount of economic illiteracy in this country is alarming."
So some divine intervention on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Can you believe this? So a pastor in Maine perfectly predicted the score of the Patriots-Chiefs game, posting this sign outside his church saying, "God doesn't have a favorite team, but the pastor does." He goes on to write, "Patriots 37, Chiefs 31. He was spot on. He now says that he'd like to think it was divine intervention, but he's not crazy. He just got it right. He also has a Super Bowl prediction, but he is not revealing what that is just yet. I do have a feeling that he's going to choose to his Patriots to win it all once again, though.
I think God wants him to be in Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. And give us all a hint.
I was going to say, and tell us what he's thinking. Yeah. Thanks, Carly.
Thanks a lot, guys.
It is 44 minutes after the hour. Many in the media, as you know, lashing out over the viral protest involving Kentucky teenagers wearing MAGA hats.
Scene many are calling racist played out in Washington.
Teenage Trump supporters taunting a Native American veteran.
You know, so many questions surrounding this. Is it accurate? Is it fair? We break down the coverage next.
But first, let's check in with Steve Doocy and see what's coming up on Fox and Friends. Hey, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Rob and Jillian. Good morning to you all on this chilly Tuesday morning, live from New York City. You were just talking about those high school kids from Kentucky who were at the mall a couple of days ago. We're actually going to have one of the chaperones, a mother who is there with her son, along with the students as well. Her name is Jill Hamlin. Also on the program coming up, we've got Judge Napolitano talking about how Don Jr. last night took aim at Adam Schiff. Stuart Varney on China's economy is slowing. Is the United States to blame, and are we closer to a deal? And David Webb as well. So we got a busy hour starting at 6, and then we got 2 to follow that. Rob and Jillian, thank you very much for asking what we got on the show today. It's very kind of you.
Of course, Steve. We always want to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Jinx, buy me a Coke. We'll be right back. Thanks, Steve.
Purdue University Global. There's no limit to what you can achieve, and now there's no limit to how. A public online university for working adults that's within your reach.
To be a pro at selfies takes practice, but to be a pro at travel just takes TripAdvisor. We offer up-to-date reviews and 360 hotel photos to help you find the right hotel and search over 200 booking sites to get you the right price. TripAdvisor.
Welcome to Fowler, Indiana, one of the windiest places in America, and home to 3 BP wind farms. In the off chance the wind ever stops blowing here, the lights can keep on shining thanks to our natural gas, a smart partner to renewable energy that's always ready when needed. Or not. At BP, we see possibilities everywhere to help the world keep advancing.
Mueller's response to BuzzFeed, Trump's proposal, and the deadlock on the shutdown. Trey Gowdy has insight on all the hot-button issues on The Next Story tonight.
You have a lot of deadlines in your business, right?
We miss deadlines, we don't get paid.
What if you lost your network connection?
You gotta be kidding me.
Chaotic. Our GigSpeed network lets you download files up to 20 times faster. And we go beyond fast with 4G LTE backup for complete reliability. So if you lose your network connection, you won't miss the deadlines.
Having the confidence of something that's never going to go down would be priceless.
Just one more way we go beyond other providers. Right now, get fast, reliable internet for a low price. Comcast Business. Beyond fast.
I'm Tony Mass with Mass Family Culligan. Since 1975, we've been West Florida's leader in clean water. We treat the water in your home, where you work, where you go out to eat, and where you stay when you're on the road. And right now, we're working with Captains for Clean Water and their efforts to clean up our Florida waters. For every system we sell, we're donating a portion of the proceeds to Captains for Clean Water. So for the best possible water in your home and to help clean up our local waters, call today and say,
"Hey, Culligan man."
Everybody needs a roof over their head, and you're getting the best with our Crowther team of specialists. Hi, I'm Jan, and for your convenience, Crowther offers the only showroom of its kind, where you find hundreds of colors and styles to choose from.
There is only one Crowther Roofing.
There is only one Crowther Roofing.
There is only one Crowther Roofing.
Crowther Residential and Commercial Roofing up on top.
Scene many are calling racist played out in Washington yesterday on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. some students harassing an older Native American man, a Vietnam vet.
Video showing its students on a Friday visit to Washington, D.C., taunting a Native American man. Teenage Trump supporters taunting a Native American veteran.
Well, the liberal media devoting 95% of their coverage to smearing the teenagers who they claim confronted a Native American veteran during the March for Life.
But later, as we now know, more video emerged showing that the teenagers were actually just standing there when they were approached by the Native Americans. As for the actual March for Life, well, the media covered it for less than a minute. Media Research Center managing editor Brittany Hughes joins us now to react. Good morning, Brittany. This really was a big screw-up by a lot of members of the media for basically just condemning these kids right off the bat without really knowing the whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, everybody, no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, everybody should agree that it's a shame that these kids found themselves the latest to be victimized, not only by social media, which we've seen can be incredibly dangerous with the mobs that it can whip up in a short amount of time, but a news media that seems to have forgotten the difference between a press badge and an activist sign and is finding it increasingly impossible to simply do their job. This isn't simply that, the media spat out this video for a couple of minutes on Saturday and said, here, there's this, it's going viral, make of it what you will. No, they didn't. They devoted tons and tons of airtime to this story. In fact, they spent 19 times more airtime on this story than they did covering the entire rest of the March for Life, to which tens of thousands of people show up. CNN and MSNBC alone spent a combined 53 minutes of coverage on this story, which is a lifetime in TV world. And by the end of it, without being able to defend themselves or offer a rebuttal, these kids had become the poster children for white male privilege and racial and religious bigotry. I mean, it was absolutely horrible how they were smeared. And again, I think that this is indicative of a media that no longer objectively reports things, but puts their own spin on it and tries to make it into this agenda.
Brittany, let me ask you something. If it weren't for that red Make America Great Again hat, would this have received a single second of coverage, do you think?
No, I don't think so at all. If it would, it would be minuscule at best. Again, if these kids had been wearing Antifa masks, I don't think that you would see this kind of devotion to this story. This was very clear that these kids, all they did was be in the wrong place at the wrong time, waiting on a bus. They showed up to a pro-life march which the media hates already and doesn't even cover. And they ended up being the face of something that the media and the left have already decided on, and that is, if you wear this hat, if you're white, if you're male especially, then you must be a racist, you must be a bigot, and this fit in perfectly with their narrative. Now, of course, they ended up with egg all over their faces when other video came out. But, I think the question here is, at what point are there consequences for a media that doesn't do its job, that doesn't look into the facts, that immediately runs with a narrative? I know a lot of talking heads and pundits have apologized for jumping the gun, but these kids are getting death threats, they're getting harassed online, they're having to go to school today with a police presence because of protesters because of these reports.
Well, this will really dramatically change their lives, and they will have to live with this for a long time because their faces are very familiar, especially Sandman, the kid that's right there on the left. And when you look at his explanation, it's crazy how it changes everything. Because when you initially watch this video and you hear that initial narrative of, he's taunting this guy, I mean, he looks, cruel, and he looks mean, and he looks like he's just basically making fun of him. But then you hear that they were approached, that they were sitting there, and there's a camera on him, and he basically just said, listen, I was just trying to show him that I'm not going to be intimidated, that I'm not going to back down, and I was just smiling to say, you can't just come up to me and do this. He was defending himself, and it changes everything.
It does. This whole thing was spun wildly out of control, again, by a media that's not interested in the facts. They're interested in a narrative. This is a group of 16, 17-year-old kids who were in a city that's unfamiliar to them, who found themselves in between two groups of adult protesters. You can see very clearly in the extended cuts of this video that this Native American man walked up to them and got in their faces. These kids didn't ask for this, and unfortunately, they're in the middle of it now.
Yeah, it really is something else. Thank you so much, Brittany.
A lot more to come on this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
53 minutes after the hour now, another candidate, another appeal to the middle class. Kamala Harris eats breakfast, and the media eats it up.
Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo. Wake me up
Want to try Grown in Idaho Super Crispy Frozen Fries?